It is getting even worse in parts of the American Northwest, inundated with water, and the toll is on the rise. NBC News in depth tonight. One city that will never be the same. Much of Reno is underwater. Tonight, the story of its survival. And our look at the best of the past year and the woman who took 96 by storm.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw. Substituting tonight, Brian Williams.
Good evening. A staggering amount of the American Northwest is underwater tonight. Tens of thousands of Americans will spend this Friday night in shelters, and a state of emergency has been declared in some 80 counties in 5 states. You are looking live at Sacramento, California, where the American River is well up and over its banks and has taken over part of a trailer park tonight. This as the last of a series of waves of water makes its way east after lashing the west coast before a much hoped-for respite from the weather. NBC's Dan Lothian is in the thick of things tonight.
Along the Feather River north of Sacramento, water consumes everything in its way. Trina Poldervaart can only stand helplessly as her house and her animals go under.
We have 350 dairy cattle that we're trying to get out right now. And it doesn't look, we're just trying everything that we possibly can because, it's our livelihood.
Just a mile away, this elderly couple was plucked from a second-story window and rescued by airboat after spending 24 hours stranded in their house with no power. And there are others.
Well, apparently there's a guy inside of a cabin. They can't get him out because the windows are barred.
For some 30,000 residents, the only safe places are emergency shelters. But finding room has been difficult for large families like the Williamsons.
And a lot of places have been filled up, so our last resort was to come here.
Packed inside are nervous families who were given little notice to get out.
Did they tell you you had to leave?
Yeah, they tell me they had to leave, yeah.
Were you a little concerned?
No, but, I want to keep saving my family, They say you got to move out of the house, so I'm moving out of the house.
Some of their household pets and farm animals are with them as well.
They had about 2 feet of water all around the place. It was coming up into the sheep, and they had to get them out of there.
More fortunate than others stranded by rising waters. Animal rescue crews are cruising to try and save whatever they can find. The people of Northern California are living through one of the worst floods in decades. More than 25 counties have been declared disaster areas, and that number could rise. South of Sacramento and Modesto, residents are sandbagging, packing up, and moving out.
They said it's going to be another 12 to 14 feet above the present level, which should put it just about the middle of the living room.
That's tough.
It is, but you can't change nature.
So far, nature has not been kind, and there's more rain on the way. Dan Lothian, NBC News, Sacramento.
Then there's the situation, you might have heard about it, Yosemite National Park in California tonight. People have been trapped by the rising floodwaters and found themselves unable to get out. Our report tonight from NBC's Mike Betcher.
Paradise was in deep trouble. California's Yosemite National Park was flooding and 2,000 people were trapped. Successive waves of heavy snow and rain are draining from the high Sierras and collecting in the Yosemite Valley. Waterfalls gushed. Roads were cut off, and 900 tourists and as many park employees found themselves surrounded by beauty and water. The helicopter was the only way in and out, ferrying in rescue supplies, food, and water, and taking out anyone who needed emergency attention. John Bailey broke his leg, but reported everyone else inside seemed to be okay.
It's really kind of a neat family up there. They're all pulling together, and people coming around last night and kind of taking an inventory. Do you need anything? What do you have to spare?
The park's employees, who've seen just about every kind of natural disaster hit Yosemite in the past year, said they were actually worried this time.
We almost ran out of dry ground last night. We're all pretty much stuck. Most of our dorms flooded, and there was mudslides, rock slides, everything else. So it's total devastation up here.
It's been a crazy year out here.
Yeah,
it really has.
Rock slides, floods last year, windstorms, fire, the whole 9 yards. We had it.
Amateur video showed just how close it was for some campers at Tent's Edge.
That right there is Tenaya Creek. Night Creek and Snow are in our front yard opposed to our backyard. Go figure.
Earlier today, the situation was so serious that deep water rescue teams were flown in to begin emergency evacuations. But the water has begun to recede, and authorities now believe that by tomorrow, those trapped in America's most beautiful spot will be able to leave the same way they came, by land. Mike Betcher, NBC News, Los Angeles.
We will have much more on the Western weather situation coming up. NBC News In-Depth, Reno, Nevada. How does a gambling mecca deal with the worst flooding in half a century? Also coming up tonight, our special series on the best of the year just passed. Television's new talk sensation who was surprised by her own success.
It doesn't even feel like my life. Sometimes it feels like I'm watching someone else's life. I'll look through a magazine and I'll see my picture and I'll say, oh, there's that Rosie O'Donnell girl.
From stand-up comedy to standout talk show host, tonight we'll hear from one of the year's best. And up next, on the lookout for letter bombs in the nation's capital and at a federal prison. Who is behind it?
A company most people never heard of is changing the way we fight cancer and kidney failure. By inducing the body to produce blood cells, chemotherapy and anemia patients are gaining new strength. Helping to grow blood cells helped Amgen become the world's largest independent biotech company. Where do you learn about companies with such pioneering spirit? Exactly. NASDAQ.com.
I need 2 hands for itching and 2 more for flaking.
All you need is Scalpicin, a clear liquid you don't wash away like shampoo. With a medicine for deep scalp itch and dandruff these dandruff shampoos don't have. Scalpicin.
No flaking, no itch.
Denture wearers, guess what? Polident is made to clean dentures and fight denture odor in just 5 minutes. So Minty Polident cleans stains and fights denture odor this fast. Honey, try Polident, the first 5-minute denture tablet.
Bayer, powerful pain relief, and so much more. Now try Extra Strength Bayer PM, the only aspirin that gently helps you sleep.
The FBI is investigating tonight what could be a new kind of terrorism here in America. So far, no one has been hurt. But in the past 2 days, a total of 8 letter bombs have turned up at a federal prison in Kansas and at the Washington offices of an Arabic newspaper. NBC's Pete Williams reports tonight on what the FBI is saying.
At the main post office in Leavenworth, Kansas today, a high state of alert to watch out for letter bombs.
I mean, we pretty well know what we're supposed to be looking for.
The warning went out yesterday after 4 letter bombs were found at the Washington office of an Arabic newspaper. A 5th was found at a central Washington postal center. None of them blew up. The newspaper, owned by a Saudi Arabian prince, is based in London and has a reputation for being objective. But its editor says the paper has undoubtedly offended terrorists.
We've been very critical of all extremist groups, especially terrorist groups in Egypt, in Algeria.
And 3 letter bombs have turned up at the federal prison in Leavenworth, all addressed to the parole office, something the prison doesn't have. The FBI says all 8 letter bombs look the same, in white envelopes about 5 by 6 inches, disguised as Christmas cards, inside a powerful explosive, and all of them mailed from Alexandria, Egypt. One possibility the FBI is investigating, a connection with Sheikh Rahman, the Egyptian mastermind of the World Trade Center bombing. 3 of his followers are inmates at Leavenworth, convicted in that bombing and the plot to blow up New York landmarks. So is Mohammed Razak, convicted of hijacking a plane 11 years ago. The FBI doesn't think the letter bombs are being sent to anyone else, but the State Department is taking no chances.
We have notified all American embassies and all American consulates to review their security measures in light of these incidents, particularly mail and package screening procedures.
Even though the letter bombs were small, investigators say they were deadly and could have killed anyone who opened them. Pete Williams, NBC News, Washington.
And NBC News has learned tonight the president will have an independent group oversee the big Pentagon investigation of Gulf War illness. According to sources, the administration feels the Pentagon's credibility is in question on the issue of how much chemical exposure was suffered by U.S. troops. But Mr. Clinton apparently does not believe the Pentagon is involved in any kind of cover-up. When we come back, more on that wicked weather out west. Reno, Nevada copes with massive flooding, major misery there. But first, a look at the big rebound for the Dow and the rest of the week's action on Wall Street.
How can you make something with all the style of France even better? Just give it an American accent, like rich French roast from Maxwell House. Irresistibly rich. It's the best of France, made our own. And it's always good to the last drop.
When Bill's back pain acts up, life stops. So I talked to our doctor. He recommended the formula in new Aspergel. You just rub it in and the muscle pain is gone.
Without pain, life is great. New Aspergel does not contain aspirin.
The leading authority on sleep.
People used to count sheep jumping fences. Now they count on Night-All Quick Caps. They're safe, won't become a habit, and help you fall asleep fast for the good night's sleep you need. Night-All will help you get your Z's.
This is your mutual fund portfolio. You may want to put in some aggressive growth funds, some balanced funds, maybe an international, and of course, lots of historically high performers. So you'll want to build your portfolio at Mutual Fund OneSource from Schwab. 600 funds, no loads, and the select list free when you call now, the way it should be.
NBC News in depth tonight. More on that awful weather in the western part of this country. Things are so bad in Nevada tonight that President Clinton has declared it a federal disaster area, all due to relentless rain, melting snow, and rising rivers that combine to create just that, a disaster. NBC's David Bloom with our in-depth report.
Having survived this region's worst flooding in more than 40 years, the people of Reno and Carson City began cleaning up today, but the high water was still churning downstream. 20 miles south of Reno in the small town of Dayton, the Carson River is so overflown its banks. Locals say it's 10 or 15 times as wide as normal, that today the river is threatening homes and forcing evacuations.
I've never been able to see the river from the side of the highway before.
And now it's right up to your door.
Right.
Gloria Guerra's Mini Mart might be saved with help from Nevada's Army National Guard, activated to help with the sandbagging, rescue operations, and cleanup.
We're trying to keep it from surging and picking up this house and pushing it in.
Are you having any luck?
Yeah, I think we're winning.
A frantic all-night, all-day sandbagging effort at this trailer park, coupled with bulldozers trying to shore up the river's weakening banks, might save Rhonda Dillon's mobile home.
You know, I've done the best that I can to this point, and I am thanking God that the skies have cleared, and at least we have some sunshine, and it's not pouring down rain anymore.
This is worse than 86. It's bad enough where the homes right down below here are, pretty much gone. We saw refrigerators, in fact, we saw 8-foot diameter tree last night with the roots all still attached. It's devastating.
But the heavy snow that late last week hit the Lake Tahoe ski resort area is now melting. A thin layer of ice on the road blamed for this fatal traffic accident this morning. The raging river water receding, but not fast enough.
You can't even see the river normally from right here. It's over that ridge, and you don't even see it running from this area right here.
And now it's just completely
enveloped
this whole valley.
Yeah. So we've evacuated everybody we can, and most people have been compliant. There's some people who want to, and there's other people who don't. So not much we can do. If it's a life-threatening situation, we'll get them out, but otherwise it's their choice.
In Reno itself, the airport's no longer 3 feet underwater, and one runway has been cleared to open. Still, a section of Interstate 80 through downtown has been undermined by a sinking gravel pit. Huge boulders are being plowed in to try to shore up this main east-west road. And 4 of the city's famous casinos remain closed due to flooding and power outages. And in Dayton, the people of this small town haven't seen the worst. David Bloom, NBC News, Dayton, Nevada.
Of course, among the officials who are out in force all across the state of Nevada today, the governor, Bob Miller. He's been watching it on the ground and from the air. Here now some of what he has seen in his own words.
It didn't surprise anybody. One of the first sight that I saw getting in here yesterday was the airport partially submerged and no planes flying. It was difficult to get in here. The roads were closed. So we've got some significant road damage as well as bridges and houses and businesses. The damage is estimated at well over $1 billion. We had a situation of a dam breakage south of Carson City, and the water cascaded down, was threatening a mobile home park. There was a front loader down there with an individual driving it that flipped over, and we have not been able to find the individual that was driving it as yet. We're in the desert, but it looks more like you're in Southeast Asian rice paddies during the monsoon season. And it's just not something you ordinarily see. You can see it on television, usually on the eastern seaboard or on the Gulf after hurricanes hit. This is something that has never happened here in my lifetime, and hopefully won't happen anywhere near the future either.
Governor Bob Miller of Nevada in his own words tonight. When we come back, the money trail. What do a foreign religious group and the Clinton legal tab have in common? And later on, the best of 96. We'll tell you why everything's coming up rosy.
Our first
Nothing takes you out of the action faster than a diarrhea medicine that can let you down. But you can count on Imodium AD to stop diarrhea, often in one dose. You could end up taking dose after dose after dose of the pink stuff to stop diarrhea as effectively as Imodium AD. Don't take chances when you have diarrhea. Take Imodium AD, one dose relief you can count on.
With hemorrhoids, sitting can be torture, but Hemorrhoid has a pain reliever that works on contact. Preparation H doesn't. Hemorrhoid shrinks swelling and relieves burn and itch. It's complete enough to tame the toughest seat. Only Hemorrhoid is this complete.
I've known Sam since we both had hair. Some days his hands hurt to where he can barely tie his shoes. Oh, he'd take 2 Tylenol, but hours later he'd be hurting again. He'd have to take more. He got fed up. So his doctor said try Aleve.
I could take just 2 Aleve all day. But Tylenol was taking up to 8.
So he tried Aleve. Keeps his pain away up to 12 hours.
What more could you ask for?
A little more hair?
Aleve. All day strong, all day long.
With hemorrhoids, sitting can be torture, but Hemorrhoid relieves awful burn and itch and shrinks swelling. And unlike Preparation H, Hemorrhoid has a pain reliever. It's complete enough to tame the toughest seat. Only Hemorrhoid is this complete.
What better place than an NFL game to ask people about the taste of Wheaties, the breakfast of champions?
Well, you can really taste the whole wheat.
I like it. I like the taste. They've got a toasted whole wheat flavor.
Can I have another bite?
These have got a crunchy, toasted taste to them.
I'm going to run home and buy a box of Wheaties for me and my kids.
Try the championship taste of toasted whole wheat Wheaties. Collect 5 Wheaties Super Bowl boxes featuring actual Super Bowl footage. But hurry, they're really moving. You better eat your Wheaties.
Hey, that's my line.
Her whereabouts remain a mystery, but the investigation takes a new twist. Tonight at 6, we will tell you how police are now hoping to find Janet March, who's been missing since August. Also, there may soon be an end in sight for Nashville's medical examiner dilemma. An update on the possible solution coming up on The Scene at 6.
The first family's big tropical adventure continued today in the U.S. Virgin Islands. The vacationing president, First Lady, and Chelsea climbed aboard a 53-foot catamaran in the glittering sunshine for a trip to a private inlet out of sight of reporters, where they put on wetsuits and went snorkeling. But even as Mr. Clinton takes a holiday, more details are being uncovered about suspicious contributions to the president's legal defense fund. Tonight, the story of a religious leader with a big following and a lot of money. NBC's Andrea Mitchell tonight with this latest twist along the money trail.
This is Suma Shanghai, a Taiwan-based leader of a fringe religious sect, receiving accolades from U.S. politicians in Chicago 3 years ago for donations to Midwest flood victims. Her followers, tens of thousands of them in 30 countries, listen for her every command, buy her line of fashions, even her worn socks. But in the '96 campaign, she was also selling Bill Clinton. And it turns out the president has been courting her support for at least 3 years.
We wish you your award ceremony a great success.
and it's signed by Bill Clinton, President of the United States.
She also won praise from former presidents Bush and Reagan. But it was the Clinton team that realized befriending Ching Hai could be very rewarding, to the tune of $600,000 for the president's legal defense fund. How did they do it? With the help of this man, Charlie Tree, once the owner of a Chinese restaurant in Little Rock, now a presidential appointee, big-time Clinton fundraiser and the Democrats' messenger to Ching Hai.
He came to me just for a spiritual reason.
Spiritual advice turned quickly into cold cash. It's not clear exactly where the money really came from. Ching Hai followers in America donated thousands. She says they acted on their own.
Yeah, because they asked me if they can help. They can help Clinton. Is it political motivation or not? I say, okay, just help quietly. Don't blow trumpet about it.
Help quietly about it.
Yeah, but as the press dig it out and told everybody.
She brought it to our attention that the Legal Defense Fund had been created because the president's personal affairs were such that he was up against personal bankruptcy. Her exact words were, if you think he's a good one, then you should try to help.
Tony Patel used to be a member.
Some believe that Master Ching Hai is a god. A lot of the times the disciples don't know what causes are worthwhile, so they just wait for the master to give direction. How the decision is communicated to members is through email, through fax, through the internet.
The president's legal defense fund eventually returned the cash, fearing much of the money did not come from the followers, but from a vast money laundering scheme. Now Congress and the Justice Department are both hot on the money trail. Andrea Mitchell, NBC News, Washington.
When we come back, the best of 96. Tonight, one very funny woman.
This portion of NBC Nightly News is brought to you tonight by Aflac, insuring over 40 million people worldwide.
You know, I watch the news and see how quickly lives can change. Things happen. People get sick, hurt. But Aflac can help fill the gaps between what your regular insurance covers and what you might really need. So if something unexpected happens, your whole way of life doesn't have to get turned on its head. We insure 40 million people worldwide who sleep better because of Aflac. Another happy policyholder.
Nobody does it like you.
The new Hoover Steam Vac Jr. helps get spots and spills before they become stains.
Nobody does it like you.
It's time to start your New Year's diet. So include the Kellogg's Special K breakfast and make up for the way you ate this holiday season. Kellogg's Special K. Lose the holiday fat.
When you use Pam, the food gets all the attention. Because Pam never adds a funny aftertaste. Clean, 100% natural Pam. Taste the food, not the spray.
Nighttime's the worst time for my heartburn. If I don't block the stomach acid fast, I don't sleep. So which blocks the acid faster? New Tagamet HB200. It has more acid blockers than Pepsid AC. So Tagamet works faster to block acid. That doesn't mean it's stronger. It's just faster. And it lasts for hours. So I can get to sleep.
New Tagamet HB200. More acid blockers help block acid faster.
Dateline Friday. She was pulled over, arrested, and strip searched. But had she even done anything wrong? Could it happen to you? A hidden camera investigation. Dateline Friday.
All this week, we've been taking a look at the best of 96, some of the people who've made a big difference this past year. And if you've been anywhere near a television set for the year just past, you know our final choice. Or do you? Tom Brokaw sat down with one of the best of 96, Rosie O'Donnell.
She's the bright new hope of daytime television. She lights up the show with her snappy one-liners and a personality that's always in high, happy gear.
Tom Cruise.
O'Donnell surprised many when she turned to television just as her film career was lifting off.
Hey, how did you do that? What about Walter?
Matter of fact,
Always the cut-up pal. But Rosie, a child of television, thought it was time for something like the old Mike Douglas show again. And she's a walking TV guide for her generation.
Kimber the White Lion is his name. You don't remember that either?
I don't. What is that?
It came on right after Gigantor, the space-age robot.
Oh.
As a child, O'Donnell came to love television for what it could mean to a youngster.
I grew up being nurtured and parented by TV shows. They were my friends and my family and surrogate mothers to me.
When you were a youngster and watching Merv Griffin and Mike Douglas and all those shows, did you sit in the living room and say, that's where I want to be someday?
Well, I never wanted to be the host, but I always wanted to be on the couch. I'm like 12 years old, and I would talk to Johnny Carson as an adult.
She grew up in the New York suburbs in a working-class family with 3 brothers and a sister. Comedy was in the O'Donnell blood.
It's the way we were allowed to communicate, very Irish Catholic, and you couldn't really say your emotions blatantly. You had to kind of couch them in humor.
A big part of your appeal, of course, is that everyone feels connected to you.
You take a common experience and you try to relate it back to the audience in a humorous way. People go, I lived that. I had a beautiful hair Chrissy doll. I remember eating Clark bars, and, you know, so it brings back that nostalgia which unites everyone.
It's what the country wanted after a long run of daytime talk sleeves. O'Donnell, who's also executive producer, earning $4 to $7 million a year, is the 1996 unlikely cover girl.
Does fame get to be a nuisance?
Yes, it does. It kind of robs you of your humanity. If I'm ever walking around in my normal face, which is this, which is not my show face, which is this, when I'm working, how you doing? Look who's here, Tom, oh my God. But when I'm talking, it's my normal. People constantly say to me, what's the matter? What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. See, it's my normal face. Normal face living, over there, working. Normal face living, working.
Do you ever get up in the morning and stop and think, whew, how did this happen?
All the time. It doesn't even feel like my life. Sometimes it feels like I'm watching someone else's life. I'll like look through a magazine and I'll see my picture and I'll say, oh, there's that Rosie O'Donnell girl. And then I go, oh, wait, that's me.
Rosie O'Donnell with Tom Brokaw. And indulge us for a second, please. While we're talking about the best in the business, a big broadcast around here said goodbye today to one of the best of 1996 and the 14 years that preceded it. Bryant Gumbel said goodbye this morning after 15 years as anchor of Today.
It's been a real pleasure and a genuine privilege to represent this program and the wonderful, wonderful people who put it on. I've had a great time. I really have. I've had a great time. I hope that you have enjoyed it nearly as much, even a fraction as much, as I have. Thank you all very much. I mean that.
Now Bryant Gumbel gets to sleep in after one great run. And that is Nightly News for Friday. Don't forget Dateline NBC at 9, 8 Central tonight. I'm Brian Williams reporting tonight from New York. I'll see you back here Sunday night.
Is now watching the NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw. NBC News, now more than ever. With charges